Its inception, NASA has received over $700 billion of taxpayers' money. NASA currently receives roughly $70 million a day. Have you ever wondered where it goes?
B-Mark!
Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. We have approach ready to start. 2, 1, 0. Booster ignition and liftoff of Shuttle Endeavour, NASA's final space station compartment that brings a bay window view to our celestial backyard.
I'm Christopher Crumb, and you're listening to FMX Radio.
A serpent guides me to damnation. No religion is a lie. Trust the Christian, my creation. Cause the love is sliding. See temptations of destruction. Lead closer to destruction. Devastation comes a consequence. Created by abuse. They call the stuff of freedom. They can stand and can't refuse it. The walls and make the pin and grab its bullets. Illusion, my intentions to believe that down inside our home. This brotherhood, I count the birth. Drawing secret
Good afternoon. Again, Tuesday. Can I get a 5x5 check if you don't mind, chat? Make sure that the vocals are coming through. Make sure the sound levels are good on your end. Just like keep things on the up and up. We have a great show in store for you. I have another very open minded and very deep, thoughtful friend, Mr. Brian Staveley from Dose of Reality. Sir, how's it going, friend? How's it going?
Yo, what's happening, dude? It's going good.
Going real good, man. This is a long time coming. I've actually had you as my guest over a year ago when I was first trying this out, my foot in the door, as it were, of podcasting, putting my face on the screen. And he was my guest back then when I was still getting to know him. And I got to hang out the last few Flattoberfest and a Flatlantic. So we met many hours of friendship under our belt so far. And now we're really diving deep on the metaphysical side of things. And I can't wait to get in with you. So,
Awesome, man.
we've been going so far.
Good, man. It's been going good. Just did like a 5-hour show last night, and I was feeling good today. And I've been really busy the last few weeks, like as you know. So got a little time this week, unwind a little bit. We had a meetup Saturday too in Charlotte, so that was really cool. Yeah, everything's going good.
Excellent, excellent. Over the last week or so, I've had my friend on, Mark Sargent, Miss Rose, 777, and of course, all my Melodome crew and all my awesome chat room. We've been discussing everything from simulation theory to, of course, like this episode, what is reality? And it's been pretty much along that line, keeping the storyline of our FE journey going and pushing our imagination, or recapturing our imagination so we can hopefully achieve new and better thoughts and ideas of where we could be, how we could be, and what are the next proper steps, the most successful direction for us to go in to do something even bigger than we've done so far. So you were
Yeah.
telling me before the show all the stuff that you were catching up on. You want to go ahead and catch our audience up on that?
Oh no, I was just before I messaged you today, I was thinking, man, I should go live today and talk a bit about 9/11 and Apollo and fake patriotism, because fake patriotism is obviously everywhere today. As is Mandela effect residue is everywhere today, because of a few Mandela effects, which we can talk about soon. But yeah, no, I have some what people would consider, even people in the truth community would consider, some probably extreme views on 9/11. I think that they're
You.
very sound views and very, well researched, and I think that they do stand to be the case. And of course, I could be wrong, but even if I am wrong, uh, no matter what happened on that day, you know, and no matter what happened, like with all the investigation into NASA and everything, these events make it clear that you should never have any patriotism or allegiance to any country, because all they do is completely lie to you and manipulate you. So like with 9/11, whether you believe what I'm saying or somebody else's theory resonates more with you or whatnot, and this is obvious for people in this chat. I was just going to kind of go off and spout my gums today about it. We don't have to go on it too long, but no matter what you think happened on that day, I mean, it's not what they say. So what it comes down to is it's clearly the government and the media that did 9/11, right? But not only is it the government and the media, just by looking at 9/11, like, how people talk about the Antarctic Treaty shows you that, like the whole world's kind of in on it type of thing, all the nations that have signed on. Well, we see the same thing with all this other stuff. The last 3 years, if you never looked into flat Earth, right, and you just looked into the thing that's been going on the last 3 years, you could come to that same damn conclusion pretty easily. The same thing goes with 9/11, and the same thing goes with the moon landing. They're all in on it. And not to crush anybody's dreams today with all their patriotism running around, but I was thinking I should do a live stream and just burn like every flag of every nation. I would love to do that.
Oh man.
Seriously, that would offend people so much, and I don't give a damn, man, because it's such a deep, deep psychosis that you're in to continually. And hey, I'm not against gathering and cookouts. That's fantastic. Go have a July 4th cookout. I'm just saying, don't be. And this is coming from somebody again, like we've all been there, right? Like, dude, I was really patriotic. Like I used to call my friends every morning on the Nextel and sing the national anthem, like belt it out. You know what I mean? But it's time to get rid of that idea, and also the idea that we're going to get help from within the system. Politicians are going to help us. The white hats are going to help us. Trump, any of this stuff. It's never going to happen. It never has happened. And nobody's going to quote unquote fix the system because the system isn't actually broken. The system's doing exactly what it was designed to do. What we need to do is recognize it and learn as much as we can to not give any energy at all to that system. And I know it's impossible to give it no energy, right? Everybody's got to go and do things out, and there's normies around, and you got to go to stores, and a lot of people have to, go to a regular job or whatever. But the best you can, the number one thing, would be seriously, do not watch the media at all. That's like the biggest step ever. That's the biggest thing you could probably ever do in your life to improve your life is stop watching the media at all. Don't pick sides. Don't think there's these people in there like, oh, Tucker Carlson's in there telling us the truth. Alex Jones is in there telling us the truth. No, they wouldn't be on these huge platforms if they were there telling you the truth. They're not telling you the truth. Are any of those guys going to tell you that the earth is flat or the Mandela effect is real or nothing was going on in the last 3 years and it was all a facade? No.
Well, to be fair, people can only tell the truth that they're aware of. So it's not that I don't think that they wouldn't. I don't think they can't if they don't resonate in such an area where they can kind of share that would please that part of the community.
So you don't think Alex Jones knows that Rona was completely nonsense?
I don't know. I've never met Alex.
He does. I think he does. I think he knows there were no plane. I know he knows there were no planes on 9/11. I mean, I think that these guys are just complete gatekeepers to put out on these huge platforms.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, to play devil's advocate on the other side, they probably have their lives to worry about since they hold such a major platform and they've been around so much longer than you and I, that I would imagine when they were brung the carrot and the stick, they quickly chose the carrot. And I assume even Alex at times didn't want the carrot, probably very begrudgingly took it. But if you were to threaten my family and my offspring and friends of mine that don't even know that these inner dealings are going on, I would probably backpedal a bit too, as my life is worth much more than I would like to think. I would be all right, just stand up. But what's another dead soul in the truth world? Maybe they reconcile it in their own head is that, well, it's better that I come out here say some of the truth than be dead and saying none of the truth. They could be using it something like this.
Yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but and ultimately, even if they're doing it for their family, it still means they're compromised. Like if they're still avoiding, they're still compromised, even if it's for a kind of a good reason or whatever. You know what I mean? So people have to realize that, and people shouldn't idol worship any of these people. They should never trust any of the media, and they still do. And this is why I bring this up. It's like this should be a foregone conclusion for all of us, but I see people in the communities do it all the time. I also see people in the communities not use discernment, and they will literally cherry pick articles from the mainstream that support the narrative of what they want to push. But we're supposed to know that everything the mainstream's putting out is nonsense. But I'll see people do that, and it's not even, and I'm not saying if something big does happen in the world, obviously the media needs to cover it. And I'm not saying you can't go into something like that and discern some truth out of it and talk about it. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying, people will read headlines, and if it supports the narrative of whatever that say they're talking about chemtrails or something, that, is this headline that comes in the media that points in the direction that we were right all along or whatever. It's like, pump the brakes a little bit. You're sharing from the mainstream media. So I'm of the mindset where you shouldn't watch it at all, dude. I know that there's a lot of people who will still be like, well, I watch it to see what's going on. I don't know, man. I'm doing all right, and I don't watch it at all. I don't need to know what's going on in their fake matrix. If I want to know what's going on, I'll call my friends. I'll go outside. I'll open the door. What's going on the screen isn't what's really going on, though. That's the thing. Like, I'm watching the news to see what's going on. It's not like they just manipulate you on two sides, the left and the right, and you're going to watch it and discern what's going on. Most of what they're showing you is going on isn't even going on in the first place. Like the moon landing and 9/11, not even going on. TV production, not even going on. So, yeah, you can get on there and you can get all, let's go kill these fucking let's go kill these people, the Muslim people, or hey, yeah, we're the best. We went to the moon, or no, we did. We beat you to the moon, and all this, and it's all over Hollywood, a script, screen. It's not even reality. So before we even get deeper on the fluid reality that we're in, most of the physical reality that we're presented and take for granted as being real, it's not real at all. Think about the depths of it, dude. I mean, they lied to you about where you live. Literally, the globe isn't real at all. So what I'm saying shouldn't sound that shocking to people that have made it to that. Because now you go fast forward a few years, we have what's gone on in the last 3 years, right? I know there's still some people that disagree, but from my own experiences and investigations and being out and looking around, there was nothing going on, okay? And nobody was getting ill until what came out, and they were pricking themselves with it, okay? So if you and a lot of us understand that, okay? So now let's go back and start to look at some other things, and it's all been fabricated. I mean, so I was deep into 9/11. I believe that to be completely fabricated. The moon landing, completely fabricated, right? So many of these events, which I'm not going to name because I know it's still on YouTube, but at the schools and stuff, completely fabricated. I have no reason to believe the thing about the 6 million at all. I have no reason to believe any story they've ever told us. Everything they've ever told us has been to manipulate us in one way or another. And then if a real thing does happen, then when they cover it, that's when, they put their bias on it and lie to you anyways and spin it in certain directions.
I don't think the majority of people would believe the truth at this point if they were told it anyway, honestly. If the government came out 2 years ago during the middle of the crisis and told the rest of the people that we've been trying to convince the whole time, they wouldn't have believed them either. They would have just got angry. They would have sheltered and hunkered down even more so. And so with that being said, unfortunately, we can't do anything about all those things. But the core, the real fluid part of it, if a random person, online or in person, came up to you and asked, "What is reality, Brian?"
Yeah.
How would you explain it? What would be your explanation, your opinion, your thought?
So what is reality? I mean, well, reality is like our experience here in this place that we reside, that we call Earth. I mean, that's what I would call reality. But our understanding and what we thought we understood about reality, our paradigm has completely changed, and it's changed several times. Okay. I mean, so many of us, again, I'll go back to the news thing real quick. So many of us thought that was reality, what's presented on the screen, the news, the people in the suits are telling you the story, they're getting the journalism going, well, that's all crap. Right. Then we come into like where many of the people in this chat have come to the conclusion, probably everybody in your chat, that NASA is completely full of it, right? That we don't live on a globe, like they say, and we live on a stationary Earth that was created for us, and we didn't come from an accidental Big Bang. So that's a huge paradigm change. I mean, it's gigantic, right? We're not in the ever expanding space. And I'm not one to say space is fake, Chris, because that's a bold claim. We don't know what's up there. What's presented as space is obviously a lie. And obviously what we see is not the distances they say and all that, but is the whole space fake? I mean, I don't know what's up there. You know what I mean? So that's, I don't go there. But as shattering as that paradigm is, then on top of it, what we thought was the physical reality. So we have this reality that we're in, and what's been going on the last 3 years, what's been going on with NASA, what was going on with the whole terrorism thing, and every other nonsense bullshit they've thrown down our throat the whole time. It's all in this physical reality, and it's been physical deceptions by the controllers that run this place, right? Now we're starting to see the breakdown of reality as a whole. Like, so what is reality? Reality is fluid. What you thought was physical matter, you're wrong. You're completely wrong. What you thought was time, linear time, the construct of time. Now, I know it for a lot of people have said in the truth community for a long time, like, time's just a construct, man-made construct, blah, 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 blah. And it's a good point. But even that hasn't even really scratched into what I'm talking about here. I mean, so we live on this earth, but we live in a reality where matter can change instantaneously and retroactively all the way back through the fabric of time. And we prove this all the time. So we live in a fluid reality. I do think, you know, and I know you just had Mark on. You guys are talking simulation theory. I do think this is God's creation, not a simulation. If you want my like overview on reality, I think God created the earth in the center of the universe. He gave us everything we needed on it, plentiful, all resources and land, and all the scarcity is completely made up. Somehow, some people got corrupted. Somehow, some people corrupted this earth and got control of it and put all this deception on top of it. But now it seems to me that the creator is stepping in and showing us the fluidity of this reality, exposing deceivers, deceptions, deceptive agencies, and all this with changes in this reality. For people that don't know, I'm referring to what's more commonly known as the Mandela effect. It's a crappy word, just like any other word that they give us. But really, what the Mandela effect is the underlying aspect of this reality. When I talk about Mandela effect on my channel, I'm literally going out every night and talking about what this reality actually is, what our observations are. So we have millions and millions and millions of people around the world that all remember things that have never existed now in this reality. All right. Getting back to things changing instantaneously and retroactively. So people have heard of some of the surface level changes, and we'll get into some deeper things. But let's start with an easy one at first. So many millions of people remember Forrest Gump saying life is like a box of chocolates. Now, because of the Mandela effect, that movie says life was like a box of chocolates. But for the people that still aren't getting it and like, oh, well, what does that matter? What matters is the copy that's sitting in your own house now says was and not is, as you knew it did every time you watched it on your DVD player. And it also correlates with your memory. Now that's changed, but it's changed retroactively all the way through time. So every copy is changed. That's what the Mandela effect is. So the idea that that's not important is absolutely ludicrous. It's the most important thing I've ever come to. Okay, because again, and even if we're in a simulation, Chris, and Forrest Gump's just an easy example that people can recognize because there's much deeper meaning in a lot of these. But even if we're in a simulation or if it's God's creation, whatever the creator is, you know, guy at a computer or deity, whatever, it's sending us direct messages. This isn't random. Like some of them can definitely be random, but there's a whole bunch that have meaning, obvious messages behind them, like Isaiah 11:6 and some of the other Bible changes, like Matthew 18:20, where two or more are gathered in my name. I have a 3.5-hour video showing everybody you could imagine in the truther community, pastors and preachers, televangelists, people I filmed on the street. You ask the Matthew 18:20, they all know it as two or more are gathered in my name. Well, the Mandela effect changed that.
About that by chance, and I know it's probably unlikely because you know we're just not in that part of the world. But have you heard of any type of these similar changes in the Quran or the Torah?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there's a guy working on a whole crap ton of them right now. And I have actually have a list of them in Hebrew. I just can't verify them because I don't read Hebrew, but I actually have the document. Oh yeah, this goes on. This is going on everywhere around the world.
Yeah, I mean, ever since people told me that the Monopoly guy don't have a monocle anymore, I've pretty much been on board because I'm dying on that hill. I just am. Me and my brothers and my grandmother played.
You die on that hill, dude, because that's your memory, that's your senses. And I know I know he had a freaking monocle, okay? And so when people want to say dumb shit like, oh, well, you know, you're just mixing it up with the Plantis peanut guy, that just means they Googled what people, you know, they Googled the little debunking thing and they come back with that. And I'm sorry, but Monopoly is in countries all over the world and the Plantis peanut guy is. We have Mandela effect content creators who have no idea who the hell the peanut guy is.
There used to be this commercial on Nickelodeon. I was a Nickelodeon kid back in the 90s and a Disney guy kid. And they actually did this skit where they took all the famous icons of the 90s era and the Peanut and Mr. Monopoly were in the same commercial. And they were like buddy because they both had monocles on and a top hat. So it was like a thing. And it's like a core memory.
Oh, wow.
It wouldn't be there for me for no reason. I wouldn't just make that up just for the hell of it. And same with the Shazam movie. Me and my brother, we can remember parts of the movie, but now they say it doesn't exist, and we sit there like, yeah, we watched it. So yeah, we're not gonna. This makes no sense to think that so many people would just come out of their butt for no reason at all, no financial gain, no popularity contest, just core
Chris,
memories that are now being struck in from the record.
does not even back to this one Bible change, right? So let me just finish on that one and we'll move past that. But Matthew 18:20, where two or more are gathered in my name, it's talking about where the presence of two or more people gather, the presence of God will be there, right? The Spirit will be there, right? So just before what happened in the end of 2019 started, just like months before, the Mandela effect changed that to where two or three are gathered in my name. There I'll be in the midst. Two or three, as in, hey, a limited gathering. And then months later, who were the first people to start limited gathering? It was the churches. It's a clear warning, supernaturally put through the scripture, and people will say, well, this doesn't matter. Now, when I talk about that change, like it'd be one thing if I like walked up to 100 people, right? And I got a mixture of different answers for Matthew 18:20, right? But if I walk up to 100 people, I mean, I could bet you cash that over 95% of those people are going to tell me where two or more are gathered in my name. But it's always been two or three now in this reality. Where's the mixture? Not only that, the 95% should be people remembering what it's actually always been, two or three. It's two completely different things, two completely different meanings. And I have particularly shown people that deny the Mandela effect over and over on that one. It's absolutely absurd that people will just shut this down because they think that they have this reality figured out. And that's the kind of frustration I get. And I know you guys hear me vent about it a lot, but it's warranted frustration. Nobody's reached the freaking finish line here. Let's keep this journey going. We don't know what this place is, and this is not the be all end all. What's going to happen after we die? Where are we going from here? I have those questions too. I'm just not experiencing that enough to talk about it all the time. Right now, we're all experiencing these changes. Everybody, I shouldn't say everybody out there, but damn near everybody listening to this knows that in Moonraker, Dolly had braces. And there's even a crowd of people,
100%,
Chris.
100%. Why would he fall in love with her? That's the whole point. Oh, that's very frustrating.
I even have, there's a crowd of truthers. I call them the Dolly's braces crowd. They'll be like, when Mandela effect comes up, they'll be like, I know Dolly had braces, but then they won't go any farther with it. It's like, okay, so it doesn't blow your mind that every copy in the world, including one that's in your own possession, she's never had braces, and they tell you she's never had braces, and there's this whole barrage of media every day, dude, every day, trying to tell us how the human memory sucks, and we're just misremembering, and on and on and on and on and on. And where I get really frustrated is, what have we learned on our journeys in the last several years? Well, we've learned to trust ourselves, trust our senses, trust our experiences. But when it comes to the Mandela effect, people want to do a 180. And the really interesting thing that I find fascinating about this is, if I bring up what I want to tell people about NASA lies or 9/11 lies and stuff like this, right? It takes a while. Like, I can understand where, it would take a while to even look at it or whatever. But like with the Mandela effect, it's like the way I approach people, I come right out like by showing that you're also experiencing this. That's my point. It's like these people that deny it are having the same memories as us. It's not like they're on the outside looking in. It's like, oh, look at these 100 people over here that all think Dolly had braces. I know she never had braces, and I always knew it was Haas avocado. It's not like that at all. They remember Haas avocados. They remember Dolly's braces, but they want to say the Mandela effect's a psyop. So here's the thing where I find people to be
Jiffy's not anymore neither, right? Jiffy, I used to eat the shit out of Jiffy.
Oh yeah, Jiffy's gone now too. Now it's only Jif. Yeah,
that's insane. But
so here's the thing. It's like, all these things that I've just mentioned and all these topics, it's like these are like psyops and hoaxes and all this, right? That they've pulled on us before we get to the Mandela effect. Like I was talking about all the physical deceptions. And we all know tons of people who rip apart all these psyops and hoaxes and fakery and all that. That's what they do. That's what you do when you cover that stuff. You kind of go through all of them. But they call this a psyop and a hoax. But none of these people have ever shown you how it's done. There's no in-depth breakdowns of showing how, I'm running a psyop and me and these other people, fooling everybody with our Mandela effect. It's really happening. And I know it scares some people. And I know that's why a lot of people don't want to address it. But you guys, man, you're trying to convince people that they're stupid. It's a slippery slope here with this, because you're trying to convince people not to trust their senses. You're telling people Brian's blasphemous by talking about the Bible's changing. I've had people say that I'm calling God a liar, and it's like, dude, wow, what a stretch of what I've actually said. I've said that God's causing this. He's in communication with us. He created this earth. But because I said printed pages on the most published book in the world have supernaturally changed, now I'm calling God a liar? No. Did God sit down and write that book? No. But even if God like got down off the clouds and sat down with a feather tip pen and he wrote the Bible, right? Well, if the Bible changes after that and I address it, I'm still not calling God a liar. I'm just saying that the Bible's changed. I mean, like, what are we talking about here?
See, I'll go a little step further or between or whatever and suggest that God has nothing to do with this, that he has no skin in this game. Matter of fact, he's enjoying the show, that our safety parameters for ourselves were well set in place before our first incarnation of whatever the original man was, Adam,
Yeah.
whatever. So with that being said, that he doesn't need to come in and do anything. Reality may shift accordingly to maybe to adjust to our awareness level, the population, the expansion of the questions and the conscious awareness we have. I don't think God needs to actually come in physically and do anything that he hasn't already thought about in the first place. That just in case they did this, I better do this. And just in case they do that, I better do this. I think all that's been set in place. So when reality changes for whatever reasons, for me, I blame us as a collective. And with that being said, there's probably at least a couple, whether it be the CERN machine or something hidden under the Vatican we don't know about, that's able to tap into the ether or Akashic records and manipulate reality on such a scale that when it happens, most of us aren't even aware of it, or it happens when you're asleep and then you wake up entering a new reality, not realizing you shifted into a different one when you fell asleep the night prior. So many different paths we could take here. There's so many rumors, so many awesome stories, and not all of them have to be scary. I don't think all of them has to be devious.
None of this is scary, dude. I mean, the Mandela effect gets you away from all the scary stuff, and I know that there's some people that are really scared in the beginning, especially the Christians that do speak up and realize that their Bibles are changing. They're very scared, and I could see why. I mean, I could feel that. But if you can get past that, because look at me, I don't have no faith in any religion or religious text or anything, right? I have not seen a Mandela effect that's like been so terrible, or where it's hurt anybody or anything like that. Yeah, it's made your favorite song sound shitty. The reality looks completely weird. There's a lot of agendas pushed, like man above God with the creation of Adam change, and there's a lot of stuff like that. But what's really hurt you? Like, did we wake up with like mutated bodies all of a sudden one day? No, like that's not happening, you know? So you shouldn't be
Mandela
scared of it.
effects where like we notice, the opposite, like, wow, this wasn't like this. This is way better now. Do we have any of those examples? Like a lot of people ask me, I'm like, why is it always so
So you're really gonna have to let me think about that, because man, if there are, it's few and far between, and some of them too. It's just, even if it's kind of neutral, it's still kind of worse because you're so remembered and ingrained with the way it used to be, and now it's like the Volkswagen, and now it's broken, and it's like, what the hell, man? What the hell?
cases of silver lining? I never hear anybody ask about the positive side of Mandela
But
effects. That's probably
yeah,
out there.
I do think that I always have to leave open possibilities for all these different theories, even ones I don't like, of course. One of the ones I do think might have some play here, besides just the creator of this realm or this simulation, if you believe it to be that or whatever, making changes, is our human consciousness responsible for some of these Mandela effects? If so, is it done on a group basis? And here's what I suggest, right? This goes back to when I first started doing YouTube. So people talk about this is going to kill you, that's going to kill you, right? Chemtrails, 5G, this, that, and the other thing, right? And every time I'm the one like with a different point of view on this, and I never thought, and I'm not saying that chemtrails are good for you. And I certainly know that they do things to manipulate the weather, block the sun, and other celestial events and objects and all this. I agree with trap the heat in. I totally see all of that. I think the agenda is actually a little deeper, and the agenda is whatever they're putting in the particulates of the air, the metals, or whatever it is. I think a lot of that is possibly to break our connection with each other and with the creator consciously. And I think that they've known for a long time that the Mandela effect was ramping up. If it was, I think it was always going on. I think it was ramping up, and they're always ahead of it. They always see it. Of course, they have the technology and the algorithms to know what everybody's talking about, and they're always ahead of the game in that aspect. I think some of the reason that all that other stuff is very important, but I think part of the reason that they're spraying the skies as well is to block that connection. So I think that we can literally, there's a possibility that we can manifest some of these changes. But here's the thing, and I had a conversation with Nathan for 5 hours last night. We're getting really deep in our conversations about this reality, and he's like, that like this is it. Like nobody else is philosophizing these conversations like this right now. Like we're the ones doing it. Like I'm not saying we're the only ones, but it's very far and few between. So if people like myself and Nathan and other people in my community haven't figured this out yet, I don't think that there's a whole bunch of people out there that have this figured out. I think that at some point, maybe we're all being drawn together, and maybe we will be able to literally change some of the reality like that. Now, there's a lot more that comes into this, because it's like, what does the other side know? I think the issue is the people that control the physical realm probably aren't people. And they don't, they control the media and the governments and all that, but it's probably not the same as us. So, or their blood's different or something. And this is just theory, right? But it makes sense to me. And they can't do what we can do with the powers that the creator gave us to make the changes in this reality. But what they can do is trick us to do it for them with the manipulation through the airwaves and everything else that they put out there. So there's a lot to that. And one more thing I want to say, and I'll take a breath, is I do definitely think most is coming from the creator, but I definitely leave open the possibility for that. And some of the seemingly just random changes and whatnot, like why would this change? Why would that change? Every change is important. People wake up off the smallest ones if it's something that was close to them. But also, if reincarnation is real and we do come back here, then I do believe that, so if reincarnation is real and we do come back here, then our memory would need to be wiped, right? What if, and I think we would play the same role. Maybe we don't, but I think we would play the same role till we kind of get spiritual where we need to be to get out of here. What if too much is the same, though? So the creator needs to just make a couple Mandela effects to things, so you don't have a complete deja vu. And deja vu is probably you recalling your last life when you went through this near same experience, made a few different choices along the way or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, I like it. I resonate with that possibility. I believe the creator, being an ultimate designer, an ultimate developer, wouldn't waste any assets, especially ones as sentient as humans appear to be. And I have to also agree that at the moment, it seems like it could be a very telling possibility that whatever is right slightly above us, whatever's other conscious entities are just outside of that visual spectrum for our eyes to decode, are these masters of illusion, these master hypnotists, these entities that don't seem to need to consume dead carcasses to survive. No, matter of fact, they seem like they consume off of us, as it were.
Yeah, well, they're like energy vampires, dude. And the plans go for too long, and they're too intricately woven into this reality. I just don't think that humans, regular humans at least, are coming up with all of it.
Agreed. The timelines don't make sense. I mean, the things that they set in motion 150 years ago, the people who were alive at the time, were never going to make it to see to what it was today that they were setting up. So, yeah, it makes more sense that something that has a much longer lifespan than we do, that would trick us in our own inherent abilities to create, into creating a world where it could easily move among us and we're not even aware of its existence, which is why hell, a good example is all the underwater fish and underwater subterranean life that we find all the time, and they're not even what we would consider to be that intelligent. So yeah, that can be a little bit scary, but I would imagine they're not all evil. I think everything has a balance. There's probably some good invisible creatures, whatever they are, reptilians, vampires, or ghosts, whatever they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's go ahead. Let you take a little break. Let me shout out to the chat. For some reason,
I'm gonna get a drink. All right, give me like 3 minutes when you shout them out.
By all means, go ahead. I have to open up my phone here. For some reason, my chat's not coming through on my StreamYard. my restream to let me say hi to everybody. So right here from my phone, we got Mellow Manda. Good to see you, sister. Happy 4th of July. By the way, everybody, it's Tuesday, middle of the week. So this is a great way to break up the week. I know a lot of people don't always like a holiday in the middle of the week, but hey, it's good sometimes too. So hello, Mr. Anson. Good to see you, sir. David, good to see you. And my eyes are getting bad. MFT, Red Storm, Anthony. Let me keep going up. Uh, Conspiracy, good to see you. Good to see you. Austin Murphy, Gannonball. I seen who else I seen him here? Oops, it's reloading. Excuse me. Russell, Sovereign Soul, good to see you. Mr. Lord Racer, JJ, good to see you, my friend. All my usual suspects are in here. I was missing a couple of names I usually like to see. Oh, I just seen. Anson's a new member. Hey, welcome my new members. I got an edit coming out for y'all. I got a little trailer, something to hype y'all up, just to say thank you. And last night I stayed up late to kind of do a little membership scrolling thing. So everybody this month who's a member, you're going to be able to see your name scroll across the screen at the end of the show today. So you got that to look forward to, Show my appreciation for all your attention, your love, your support, and just hanging out with me, FMX, here on the afternoon radio show. We've been doing it the last 2 weeks, going pretty hard, getting to know y'all, doing open panels, people coming up, introducing themselves. And, everybody from Twitch and the Rockfin side, I really appreciate y'all. Let me go over there. David S. and Benny Boy over on the Rockfin, good to see you. And the other 3 souls that's in the background, good to see you. And people listening in the future, which will be my past. Thanks for listening, and it's good to see you as well, even if I can't physically do so. But with that being said, let's take a short little break. Brian's going to use the bathroom. I'm going to go fill up myself. I've been drinking on this energy drink, and it's getting nasty. I don't want to drink it anymore. Go get some tea or some water or something. But I hope you're having a great day because I'm feeling good. I hope you're feeling good. Kick your shoes off and get ready to do some fireworks tonight. Be careful. Don't blow off those fingers, Play it safe, man. You got to be careful out there. This time of year, the craziest things happen. I think we just had a full moon, too. So, there's that. So I hope everybody's feeling great, and we're going to keep it moving. Thanks for being here, FMX Radio Show. We'll be right back.
I am not Morgan Freeman. What you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I am not even a human being?
2,
Would you believe me?
1.
What is your perception of reality?
Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. We have filter ready to start. 2, 1, 0. Booster ignition and liftoff of Shuttle Endeavour with NASA's final space station crew compartment that brings a bay window view to our celestial backyard.
Houston, Endeavour, roll program. Roger, roll, Endeavour.
This is Mission Control Houston. Endeavour's roll maneuver is complete. Heads down position on track for its flight to the International Space Station.
32 seconds into the flight. 3 liquid fuel main engines soon will throttle back to 72% of rated performance down in the bucket, reducing the stress on the shuttle as it goes transonic.
This is Rose 777, and you're listening to FMX Radio. FMX Radio. FMX Radio.
All right, and we're back. Thanks for hanging out with us. FMX Radio Show, hanging out with my man Brian Staveley, dose of reality, putting it down, getting ladling the gravy across all you beautiful ladies. We like, we like to do a little rhyming sometime, Brian. That's how you know. Like keep it gully. So what's up, man? We got and on the whole. Go ahead,
I'd like to entertain your theory a little bit by saying what I actually like about it, even though people know I'm not a fan of the simulation theory. What I think works about it. I think it's important to address because I'm not, who the hell am I to say? Like, so I don't know. I have to remain open to all of this. So everybody knows why I am against it. One of the main reasons being it seems that that's it. And why I know it's being pushed by the same people that push the globe narrative and that are trying to hide the supernatural and hide where we came from and where we are, in my opinion. But the thing that does work with it is important to talk about. And I'm going to get to that. So all these other theories from multiple timelines that came from a new Earth to time travel and all these other ideas, none of those can work, in my opinion, based on what we see with the Mandela effect. They could, maybe they could work, but after that, we still have to be in a fluid reality. And this is important to address too, because I know there's a lot of people that...
when you say fluid reality, what does that mean?
I mean that the reality can shift in the way it does, in which we talked about when we explained the Mandela effect, like with the Forrest Gump or with the Bible changing. I mean, it's fluid. It's not set in stone, and these things do happen. So the important thing to remember, is I really appreciate anybody that recognizes that this is real. And because that's the important thing, to recognize that this can happen, because you're really hindering yourself on trying to figure out what our existence is if you're of the mindset that this can't even happen and you're going to just ignore all of it, So I know a lot of people will think, well, Brian, I disagree with a lot of them, or he goes too far or whatever. And that's fine. But as long as you know that there's some real changes happening, that opens the door to, trying to see what this existence is, because because this is happening. Okay. There is at least a slew of changes that highly affects everybody. And they might not all be aware of that yet. They might not come across me yet or whatever. But there are changes that affect you, all of you. So all that being said, the only other theory for me that can work besides this is God's created earth and, he's making the changes, or we're making the changes. One of the only ones that seems to have validity, because that a fluid reality would work in a simulation. Right. So that's where I think, that's why a lot of people automatically go to that too. Like I talked to a guy the other night. He came to my meetup, this guy, Luke. Really cool to talk to him, because I talked to him at Flattoberfest, the original Flattoberfest in 2019. Wow. And I was talking to him about the Mandela effect, and he was having a real hard time with it, especially with the Bible. But now when he came, he was like, wow, I really, really came around on this a lot, and thank you for making me realize that this can happen. And John from Wake Up or Else was at my meetup as well, and he's like, and John's really helped me with the Bible changes. And then he started talking about the synchronicities that he sees in his life now. Now I see this type of shit all the time. A lot of people in this community do. And man, we talked about a crazy one with me and Nathan last night during the show. But he started telling me about all these synchronicities he's having in reality. And because of those synchronicities, he believes we're in a simulation. So I do, even though I think it's the agenda that they want you to believe, I think it's part of the gatekeeping narrative. And I can't dismiss any of these, but out of all the other ones, it's the only other one that kind of offers that kind of fits with the fluid reality, because if it's time travel, well, why is all this residue here, right? And why does everybody have the memories that we do on at least a slew of Mandela effects? Like I said, they shouldn't have that memory if we came from somewhere else, or time travel would have branched us off into a different timeline, or we went from one Earth to a new Earth. Well, why is all the residue here, But if it's a fluid reality, whether it's God's creation or a simulation, those changes are happening in this reality as we experience it, and we prove that, with the bigger, larger Mandela effects.
So I want to take your great example of saying that it's a God's creation or simulation, and put it together and say it's God's simulation. That it's not one or the other. That was his simulation. We have to use this term right now because it's the best example that we have, especially in this modern day English language. But in my mind, the great developer in the sky, this realm or this system, put these protocols, these safety protocols in place since the beginning, and learned through every iteration of these new sentient humans that it keeps altering with these great resets. Just like in a software system, we would fix things. We would turn it off. We would come back, boot it back up. There would be slightly interchanges that happen. And the people who live inside, the little sentient creatures that live inside my system that I've created inside this super ultimate metaverse on which that we cannot really conceive outside of the actual metaverse that we have. But I'm talking about way deeper than that, way, way, way deeper than that. High celestial civilization we're talking about here. Words and terminations that we haven't even discovered or created just yet. But us having these conversations could inevitably help us reach that higher understanding of what this simulation, this reality of a simulation is made out of. Because we know that whatever this reality is, it's not the original. Too many things happen on too many delayed timelines. The speed of light, the speed of sound, the speed of sensation, the speed that it takes for you to gather information, collect it, download it, process it, and respond to it is all happening on microcosm scales that seem like it's happened almost instantaneously, but we know that it's not. So I don't think it's disrespectful to say this is a simulation. If you look at it in the terms that we don't completely understand this version of it yet, we can't recreate it outside of a video game anyway. And even then, we're real limited even in the game world compared to what's actually going on here in the real world. Can't replicate it that accurately just yet.
Yeah.
So I think they're one and the same. I think the Mandela effect kind of happens. I don't know why it happens, but an idea that it could happen is because of this alternating reality that's always self-regulating itself between all the different consciousness and co-creators who are having and attracting these infinite thoughts at all times of the day, 24/7, that the system itself is, this operating system is always calculating and adjusting accordingly to all the different creations that's being created. Maybe that's why sometimes the reset has to be made. Like too much things are being made at one time. It's slowing down my holy processor, and then I don't have enough speed. I'm gonna have to take it apart, rebuild it, and then I'll turn it back on. The people that live there never know what happened. There's gonna be little changes. Maybe people who's dead is not dead anymore, but my game will go on, and the people who are playing in my game will think that this game is real life. And when they're done with my game, they're gonna be like, "Wow, what a great ride! Can I go again?" Or at least we hope.
Did you see the other day Subway? Did you see the video I did on Subway?
No,
Subway put out a new commercial, and it's a avocado sandwich of some
Oh, I
sort.
did see that. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
And we only use Haas avocados. Well, no, you don't. Haas avocados have never existed now. Yeah. This is the type of stuff I'm talking about. The amount of insurmountable evidence on some of these. I mean, the Haas avocados one is ridiculous. And the amount of residue and quality of residue to show that that's a change that I can provide on that one, it's absurd that people would deny that this has taken place. Absurd. I mean, this changed like a decade ago for most of us. Who knows how long ago before we even noticed it, right? So, I mean, the Subway is still advertising Haas avocados. I showed a video on my stream last night. This guy's doing reviews of this other avocado. It's like what he does on his channel, right? And he's got like 300,000 subscribers, and he's talking about the skin and the seed or whatever, all the stuff about the tree of it. And then he gets into, oh, it tastes a lot like a Haas avocado. Haas, the Haas this, the Haas that. Well, it was never Haas. It's always been Haas now. Everybody I ask, man. I'm not saying there's never anybody that says that. 99 out of 100 people, and I've asked probably 100 people about this one, you know, especially when I go to California too. Without hesitation, people tell me Haas. And to think that we would take a word that ends in a double S, rhymes with pass, like Haas, and for some reason think it was Haas, and all insert a double A, which we basically never use in English, all insert a double A into this word for no reason, and to just ignore that there's something happening here. The people that deny the Mandela effect, you know, they remember Haas avocados. And right now, you want evidence, you can still go buy one at Kroger's or Walmart. You're going to buy a Haas. It's going to have a sticker on it that says Haas. But those two retailers have not updated yet. Their computer systems have not updated, and they still reflect the old reality. I can get you a printed receipt for a reality that doesn't exist. Not only that.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
I
Boom.
can show you a piece of packaging that should be nowhere in this reality if the Mandela effect isn't real and we're misremembering. We're not misremembering. Your senses aren't failing you. Don't let people gaslight you and tell you that they are. Okay? And then when we get to more significant changes, like the wolf laying with the lamb now to represent the millennial reign of Christ rather than the lion, it's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal when they warn you about Rona in the Bible. It's kind of a big deal that planets is in there now. It's kind of a big deal that Moses is carrying tables instead of tablets down the mountain. Jesus is carrying a couch. This is kind of big stuff. It's kind of big stuff that the land masses of the earth are now in the wrong place from where they always were. And all the changes I talk about are retroactively reflected on any map or globe or anything you might have in your house. It's not a small deal that commercial airliners have the engines now hanging off the front of the wings when they used to be under the wings. Yet it's not a redesign. It's not like they just redesigned all the airplanes in the last 5 years. Go back 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I remember them. This could, for me, this is all mental. This whole realm is based off your mental attention. We're such powerful, innate creators that we can only be, and on top of that, for whatever reason, we don't seem to have the same type of mental control that we should have. Our science says potentially is capable of our brain usage. So with that being said, it really seems like people can only be aware and access that information if, one, they allow themselves to, and if, two, if they have the correct download or program to do it. You seem like one of those individuals who have that correct coding that could pick up on things a lot easier because you refuse to allow yourself to get distractions in a way where most people easily fall victim to or fall repetitive and get caught in a rat race and whatnot.
The largest explosion in the history of the world now happened in New York City, and nobody's ever heard about it until I tell them. It's kind of a big deal. Just saying.
Yeah, I get it. It's still mental, though, and I think it's going to be a process, a challenge to get people to download that type of thinking and adapt it without freaking them the hell out. As you said, it can be very scary initially until you start looking.
It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. I get it, and I got to try to keep myself in check sometimes because I realize that, I got to realize, I've been looking at this for 7 or 8 years, and there's a lot of people. But again, I've been trying to wake a lot of people up for about 5 years with video and stuff, and it's just like very frustrating. But I got to remember, this is like some real next level shit here. Like, this is not easy to comprehend, But what the problem is if people would just be honest and be like, well, I don't know what to make of it. It's pretty mind blowing, But what I tend to see is people mock and ridicule it, or they'll come right out and call it a psyop or it's fake. And I take a big insult to that, because we have a whole community of brilliant people that aren't fucking idiots, know it's not fake, and you have to hear out of the mouths of people that are supposed to show you hoaxes and fakery and stuff and psyops, but they don't do any of that, and they mislead people. And I've experienced on a personal level the people that have been misled. I'll give you an example. So one example is I was at one of Karen's events about a year or two ago, and we were talking to a guy privately about Bible changes. And then he's like, he was resonating with a lot of it. And he's like, yeah, well, so and so over there who had already made an anti-Mandela effect video and completely ridiculous. He was like, well, I don't want to start any drama, so I'm not going to use names. I'm not into that. I'm into pushing buttons and lighting a fire into people and trying to get them to wake up, but I don't not into all the bullshit, especially now with all that goes on everywhere. I want nothing to do with any of that. But I got to speak the facts here. And the facts is the guy was resonating with the Bible changes, right? But then he's like, well, so-and-so over there told me he has a copy of the Bible at home that still says Lion and the Lamb. Now, this guy, I know that guy doesn't have it, of course, because it doesn't exist. Second of all, I know that guy doesn't have it because we already had a back and forth, and I'm sure he checked his, But the problem is the people that follow these content creators take that as truth, literally being lied to. I said, then you need to tell him to show you that Bible, because he doesn't have that Bible. No Bible in the world now says Lion and the Lamb in the book of Isaiah. And I've pointed out in the truth communities, the most well-versed Bible people, and how affected they are by these Bible changes. They can keep denying it, and people can think I'm being a punk or whatever, but no, I'm not. I'm being somebody that's standing in truth, and I'm not going to accept being gaslit by everybody. I don't want to see people misled. I care about people continuing to wake up to the truth. And again, from my perspective, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened in the history of mankind, at least the goddamn most interesting. And it's certainly profound, no matter what your theories on where it's coming from. It's a huge deal.
What are your beliefs as far as spirits and the specter world goes? Do you think there's other souls walking around, either dead humans or demons or whatever?
And Marshall Lee, I'm glad you wrote that, because I actually should have said the largest, and I meant to, and I always do, the largest man-made explosion, quote unquote, non-nuclear. That's what they call them. The largest non-nuclear explosion in the history of the world now is Black Dom. Ghosts and spirits, I do believe in it. I haven't really had any experiences since I was a kid, but those experiences won't go away. So what are those? They seem like they're trapped here in some form of way, and they can communicate with us when they want to. And I bet you it's kind of like the Mandela effect, right? The people that just can't see it, even though they're affected by it and they never want to look at it, they probably aren't going to have any interactions with those spirits either. Spirits are going to recognize that and not even reach out to them. Somebody like me is probably a likely candidate, So what are they? I don't know. I mean, people even ask if we're dead. Is that what caused the Mandela effect? Did we die?
Yes. I've heard of that.
A lot of people, a real lot of people resonate with that and they know they had a near-death experience close to the time they started experiencing the changes. So there's that idea as well. Doesn't really resonate with me so much, but we need to talk about all this stuff, resonates with a lot of people, and a lot of people I consider friends with really intelligent minds. So it has to be put out there. Just like your simulation theory, just like
simulation theory, it encapsulates everything. Everybody kind of gets what they want. For me, wherever your attention goes, you as an individual creator get to design and architect your own reality. So the things that you focus on are the things that you get to experience, Brian. That's what I truly believe. I think that's why you're so great at what you do. You sharpened your mind to the point, unlike no others, with this particular topic, you can tune in on small details and these little hiccups that go. It's pretty impressive. I admire
Thank
his skill of doing
Thank
that,
you, man.
and I see it in everybody else as well. And that's why so architects are so great at building skyscrapers, and Miss Karen's so great at explaining crystals, and everybody and the globe busters are great explaining all the little intricate details of globe busters. All of us together with our powers combined and our
Yeah.
information and our collective consciousness is really on the cusp of learning the next big
And,
cookie.
and that's what drives me a lot when trying to wake up other people to this. It's not about, hey, look at I'm making videos and you don't get this, and I'm trying to show people you don't get it. No, it's because we want a lot of great minds all trying to
Yes.
figure out this. Let's not exclude what seems to be too crazy, the Mandela effect, because it's the same type of attitude we've had along every step of the way. It's too crazy to think there were no planes. It's too crazy to think the earth was flat. Every step of the way, I hear the same thing too. Well, Brian's just saying there were no planes. That's some sort of psyop to discredit the 9/11 truth movement. Oh, now Brian's saying the earth's flat. That's just a psyop to discredit 9/11. Oh, Brian's saying there's a Mandela effect. That's just to discredit the flat earth. No, this is the reality of the situation. Let's discuss it. There's way too many people now that know the Mandela effect's real and very important. And I like to think that I have a big hand in that. And I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm going to continue to push this message. And, for anybody that says I talk about it too much, look at all the content creators you follow that basically focus in on one topic most of the time. That's what people do. That's what the expertise is. I'm not going to back off this, but when it needs to be, you better bet in 2 months I'm going to have the best 9/11 show you ever saw in your life, probably. Okay, I'm going to have an Apollo show again soon when the anniversary comes up. I think that's in like November or something. And I always try and all these things are important, but I'm not, again, with these guys. I get a lot of flack. I hear about it. People in like the old 9/11 circles and that, right? And the old Mandela effect, so stupid. But sorry, man, you guys are just stuck in the past. Like, it's very important to show people that the media is a lie and all the events that are presented to us are fake. And I'm very happy that there's still people to break that down for people, but I'm no longer that guy. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not going to focus my energy on what I already know is completely fake and a distraction, because at some point you're feeding that into that energy just as much as the normies that believe in it, even though you don't believe in it. So I'm not going to be that guy that's going to keep doing that. And one of the reasons I came out in 2017, came back out after taking 2 years off, is because I saw many of my friends in the flat earth community falling for a lot of the nonsense 9/11 rabbit trails promoting fear that were being pushed out there. So I wanted to do some 9/11 shows, but then I got into doing some Mandela effect roundtables. Mandela effect was hitting me a lot more. And then I was like, I saw what was out there, and there were not enough people out there taking it serious like I do. It was real wishy-washy. And I'm like, I'm really going to focus in on this. And then I started to get hit with some of the really profound ones. And of course, a personal one. So anybody that doesn't think this is a big deal, wait till you have a personal Mandela effect in your life, because it's going to blow you the socks off.
If you're lucky enough to experience such a thing, I personally feel like part of the protocols here is that most of us don't feel these little changes into reality. God would have been a great developer if these things were so easily picked up on by his creations. So I give all the credit to God and all the glory and all the eternal wisdom that we're still trying to catch up and process some insignificant small amount of it so we can better understand our creator and therefore ourselves. So I'm very enthusiastic about this whole process, and I feel very lucky to know all these great mind individuals who are fine-tuning and focusing on their niche, because without people like you and the rest of the community, who would be doing it? We would literally be an echo chamber of the same things over and over again when it seems to be false things that are being echoed on top of that. So it's good to have these frequencies bounce off in different directions, resonate with other people who want to vibe up to it with them and help them dig through the dirt, as it were, and see what fits and what doesn't. New ideas, exchanging energies. It's a great time. It's a great show.
For the people that read the Bible, I mean, their Bible is a complete mess now. It's a mess. And I know there's enough people that recognize the Bible changes by glancing over at the chat. They're posting some of them in there. It's a complete mess. And I'm not a Bible guy, so but I would love to recommend 3 people, anybody that's watching, check out a channel called Wake Up or Else with my friend John. Check out a channel called Awakened Saint, my friend Mike. And check out Jesus Freak Computer Geek with my friend Dave, who, by the way, worked at NASA, had been at the South Pole. That Awakening interview is on my channel from like 4 or 5 years ago. Everybody should check that out. They're very well versed on the Bible changes. So people that do recognize there's changes in the Bible, I can only take you so far, So I can talk about a bunch of them, but when I present, and I do have a playlist of Bible changes, but there's only like 10 or 15 of them that I cover because there has to be a substantial amount of things that meet my criteria as far as evidence with those, because I don't have the experience before the Mandela effect with the Bible. So my memory, it doesn't even come into play with it, So I have to be able to investigate it and realize how huge it is for everybody. See that there's 200 years of freaking residue in the newspaper archives and everywhere else, and go through all these things extensively, which I have done on certain ones, but there's a ton of other changes and words that it's switched and grammatical errors and names that are different, but it's just a little bit out of my league. So I will refer you to other people for things like that, definitely if you finally realize I can get you there. I can get you to the bridge where you realize that the scripture has changed.
Then you got
But I can't take you I can't take you across that bridge.
Oh,
I gotta
have to jump off the bridge. You
No,
gotta
no, no, no.
It's better to cross the bridge than jump off of it, I guess. You're right. So, out of all these little Mandela hiccups, what is the biggest one? Because I think for a lot of people that scares them when they start entertaining these ideas, these concepts, is the fact that, well, if these are the small things in my life, then I'm omitted that change because my younger self definitely remembers these certain situations, and so do my classmates, my siblings, even parents at certain points. But it's such a small deal that we just kind of write it off. But I think at the subliminal level, people are scared. Well, if these are the small things I'm missing, what about the bigger ramifications that are going on that we're just assuming? Like, well, it must have always been that building, must have always been that name because it's a
Well, that's a
building.
big one. Buildings are a big one for people, and businesses all over the country all of a sudden changing overnight, and people not ever seeing the construction done, the painting done, or any of this. That's something that people have
Mona
definitely.
Lisa that is smiling now. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that one's tough for me, so I don't talk about that one because again,
Really? No, she was not
so
smiling
here's
like
the thing.
that, bro. She
See,
was not.
sometimes I wish I was more separated from people, and I'd probably talk about more that I'm not sure of. But being that I kind of have a bullseye on me, I really got to try and keep it as tight as I can. So if I'm not sure, I usually don't get into them. For her, I can never really tell by looking at that, man.
See,
It
for
just
me, again, I was a '90s, '80s kid, and that was a big trope back in the cartoon days. Like the Animaniacs would make fun of them, and they would do like this, this mediocre half grin face because she was never smiling. And it was even a backstory back then that she was being, abused or whatever back then. That's why she couldn't really put on a smile, and it was like this whole trope about it. It was the thing, and all of a sudden, I hear a few years ago, and they're showing pictures. Yeah, she's smirking now. Smirk. It looks weird. I look
yeah.
at it. It doesn't even look like this. I'm like, what? Is this fake? Are y'all fucking with me? I'm like, she wasn't smiling when I was younger.
Just yeah.
Weird.
So there's a lot of that though. A lot of the most famous artwork, and again, this is the best part about the Mandela effect. It's not like, hey, the reality's changing, and my uncle's graduation video from 1975 has a Mandela effect in it, right? I'm talking about the Bible and the most famous paintings. So the biggest one for me, I would have to say, is the creation of Adam on the Sistine Chapel. I mean, it's God, my God, dude. Everybody knows what it used to look like. It was God reaching down
That's
to Adam.
what's it doing now?
You haven't seen it? Can I get a screen share in a second?
Yeah.
Oh my boy! And this is a this is what the fuck is my hard drive not plugged in? Oh, okay. This is a big one, dude. So hang on.
Maybe I do. I don't recall. It. I didn't know that one changed too. Is it not? Is he not touching the finger anymore, or like about to touch it?
I'm gonna show you. Hang on. I'm just trying to find my images.
Like he's in the clouds or something, and like Adam's like laying down or something on his back, looking real soft for some reason. I don't know why Adam laying on his back like that, man. Stand up. It's God reaching down to you. Stand up. Show some respect.
I can't find my images right now. Uh-oh. I restored my computer. I hope I didn't lose any of these.
I'll pull it up on Google on my side. See what.
Oh, I got him. Don't pull it up. Let me show you. All right, I got him. That would have been awful if I lost all these images. Okay, so let me get a screen share.
If y'all can, smash that like button for me. Share it around. We're having a great conversation. Me and Brian Staveley, Dose of Reality, going down the Mandela Trail. I know I've had my experiences, and you're not going to drag me off my hill because I was there, and I don't care. what anybody says. But let's go ahead and pull this up on the background. Boom.
So this is what we call residue. So this is obviously this is just a stupid
That's what it looks
cartoon.
like now, the 16-inch chapel?
That's just a representation, of what people remember, the angle of God being above Adam and coming down. Okay. And it's everywhere. There was even one on a building in Charlotte the other night. I didn't see it, but Luke did. He told me about it, because this is all representing God pointing down to Adam and providing the spark. But now when you look at it, the creation of Adam is, where's the original? Here it is. Whoops. There it is. Look at God now. His hand is actually a little bit lower than Adam's. Now it's like man higher than God. Oh, you're not seeing that, are you? You're only seeing the one image?
Yeah, only seeing the one.
Oh, man.
Right, yeah, reshare. Yeah.
Hang on. Oh,
It's all
what the
good.
fuck happened there? Entire screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is can people see it? Okay, so this is a pizza residue, right? You already saw that one. Okay, so represented all over the place, all
That'd
sorts of parodies, artwork, representing God reaching down and providing the spark,
Good times.
But now, this is it. And God's hand is actually lower than Adam's now.
Oh, yeah, that's weird.
This was at a 45-degree angle, dude. And Adam didn't have a limp wrist like this either. It was fingertip pointing up at a 45.
Yeah.
So what's the message? Well, you got man higher than God. You have men nursing fathers with breasts full of milk in the Bible. Planets is in the Bible. So all the stuff I told you to do with Rona in the Bible, right?
If this picture changes one day and he has titties, I'm out of here. I'm done with this round.
Hey, this picture changed incrementally too. He wasn't even this low at first. It started out with an angle got slower.
He's gonna grow into a JJ. Ugh.
It could, dude. It could, dude.
We're giving him ideas. Stop giving them ideas, Brian. Like, look what you did. You gave them these twisted ideas.
I mean, what's nursing fathers with breasts full of milk sound like to you? Well, it sounds like the transgender thing, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. Ugh. Heebie-jeebies, y'all. The heebie-jeebies. Doesn't make it feel good.
Yeah. So today is the 4th of July. And if you go anywhere today, you're going to see tons of Mandela effect residue all over the place because of two very large Mandela effects.
Oh, one is stripes, right? With the stripes and the flag.
Of course. You know what the other one is?
Is it Abraham Lincoln? Was he the other one?
Uncle Sam's hat.
Uncle Sam's hat. Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you'll see Uncle Sam's hat with red stripes, and it's based off the Uncle Sam poster. The Uncle Sam poster now no longer has red stripes on the hat. But everywhere you look, not only do you see residue everywhere with the red stripes on the Uncle Sam hat, you almost never see it the way it's actually supposed to be without the stripes. Now, for people that say, oh, they just added the stripes, and I want to show you something really good to do with this Mandela effect. So let me get into, I'm going to grab a screen in a second. Just finding my folder here. Here we go. So check this image out. Screen share. This is the guy. Okay, so here's the Uncle Sam poster, right? It no longer has the stripes on it. Okay. And this image is from 1970. This is the guy that's in the poster. This is literally the guy that's in the poster.
That looks like the guy in the poster.
He went back to the poster like to take a picture in front of it.
In time?
But he went to a poster years and years ago, and look at what he's wearing on his head. He's wearing a striped hat.
Oh, he's doing it all wrong.
He's the actual original guy. Now, everywhere you look today, you'll not see any of this. You might, but you're going to see 98%. They're all going to have red stripes on it. And you're going to see a mixture of flag residue everywhere. So you're going to see red stripe under the blue everywhere, but you're not going to see it on any real flags because those flags have been Mandela affected out of existence. So for people that don't understand, so many of us remember the red stripe under the blue on the U.S. flag. Okay. Now, when people do artwork and woodwork and drawings so often, more often than not, they put the red stripe under the blue. But in this reality, for a 48, 49, or 50 star flag, all you're going to see is white stripe under the blue, which doesn't make any sense, even by their official story. So if you go and look and ask and look into the history of why there's white stripe flags and red stripe, they're going to tell you that the red stripe and the white stripe under the blue both exist, but the red stripe is wartime and the white stripe is peacetime. Well, where are all the red stripe flags? And you can even go back and look at old war footage. I've shown some of it, like battleships going out to sea and literally raising their flag up. They're all white stripe. There's no red stripe flags left. They should be still hanging up all over the place. You won't see them, but you'll see residue of it everywhere, especially on a day like today, July 4th.
Wow, man. And Mirror, Mirror, that was my, when I was Disney movies, of course, are switching up on us now. I wonder if it's going to be a Mandela effect in the future now with the new Little Mermaid movie, which I heard it sucks. That's, oh well.
Well, Disney keeps mocking their own movies. Like they keep doing these live action movies, and in them, whenever they portray the Snow White scene, it's always mirror, mirror on the wall. So, I mean, if it's always been Magic Mirror and we're all a bunch of idiots, well, why do they keep doing it? The same correlate with our memory. And speaking of specific, let's talk specific residue, right? I love Mirror, Mirror because Mirror, Mirror, it's like one of these 100%ers, like you can, I know if I lock 100 people in a grocery store and I ask them this, 100 random adults, they're all going to say Mirror, Mirror, right?
Mirror on the wall.
And I always have to say this because it has been changed for several years. I can always got to leave it open. We'll say high 90 percentile, right? Mirror, mirror on the wall. But this residue is so significant with this one. There's two pieces I want to talk about. So first of all, we could show you endless parodies from different movies, including Disney movies, right? We can show you, it's in all different hip hop songs. Snoop Dogg, De La Soul, Slick Rick, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Iggy Azalea. It's endless. We could show you all sorts of merchandise, T-shirts, whatever. We can do all of that, right? We can also show you Walt Disney on video in 1950 when he was releasing this movie, and it was his first major animated film, and he was all fired up about it. He quotes it, mirror, mirror on the wall. He's the guy that freaking owns it, okay? Then on top of that, people say, oh, the Mandela effect's just a regional thing. You don't know. This is all the crazy stuff people say. Well, I'm going to show you where regional things actually prove the Mandela effect. Mirror, mirror on the wall is now Magic Mirror on the Wall. Okay, so what is a Mandela effect when it pertains to a movie? Well, it's something in the movie that has changed, and it's changed on every copy of that movie in existence, right? So on a Mirror, Mirror, it's not the video scene hasn't changed. It's the same scene, right? The audio's changed, right? What happens when you take a movie and you dub it over in another language? Well, you use the same video, you swap out the audio. That movie dubbed over in German, Russian, Italian, a few other languages I'm sure I haven't checked yet, and ones I'm forgetting, still says mirror, mirror on the wall in the other language. When you translate the words that's being said in these different German, in these different languages, it doesn't say magic mirror. It says mirror, mirror. Dude, that's a lot of fucking evidence to show you that you're not crazy, you're not dumb, you're not misremembering things. And I know this is only a movie change. This is a huge one, though, that resonates with so many because something is trying to make us aware of this, dude. That's significant residue. And that same thing happens with Forrest Gump. If you listen to Forrest Gump in those other movies, and I have short videos where I actually come out, I'm speaking the other languages, the line, I can't speak those languages, but I say the line in the other language. I show you the translation. It still says life is like a box of chocolates in those other movies, in the other languages. That's significant.
I'm I'm writing a script for a movie right now, Brian, for like a Truman episode, or a Truman style movie / TV show. And a big part that I want to include in there is some Mandela effect type of over to it and whatnot. Figured that'd be funny. Try to hit a whole bunch of different bars, while we're make it fun, make it resonate with as many people as possible. And you've been a great wealth of Mandela knowledge, grabbing all this from And there's a lot of people out here that do notice your hard work. They do see it, and they do realize that reality is much more fluid than solid, even if we don't exactly know what type of fluid it is, how fluid it is, and are interactive with it. Because at the end of the day, I think it's us. I think it's really all us. Even if there's string pullers beyond our visual sight in the spectrum, ultimately there's too many of us to control all of us as individuals, so they have to do it collectively. They have to do these overarching type of storylines and scenarios and events, and maybe even do some slick occult ritualistic thing with CERN. I mean, it's weird that they always do these quote unquote satanic looking rituals where they dress up in overdone makeup and gown and costumes, flying on different trapezes and fire everywhere, symbolism everywhere. It's not just for show at a certain point, right? I mean, they know that the energy of this realm is fluid, like we've been saying.
Yeah.
Putting these imagery out there inside this fluidic energy that's being reciprocated from all of the other sentient beings walking around, whether they're aware of it or not, seeps into their subconsciousness. They help project that imagery back out, and therefore fear is instilled, and that programming can begin. When you lower somebody's vibration to a point, you can pretty much suggest anything to them, and it's a state of hypnosis at the end of the day. And this Mandela effect could be probably one of the highest form of hypnosis, to ignore your observable experienced reality and to adapt another's version, even though you experienced something different, but then you were told by an external force that no, you didn't. It's always been like this, and it's always going to be like this. You can't trust yourself. Trust me.
That's
I
insane. Yeah. That's
that is,
that's insane, dude. And a lot of these, like I know, people will be like, "Well, what? Who cares? This product change or this word change, like you could be, misspelling it or what." But what about the anchor memory ones? Like, what about the Sinbad one that you brought up, where not only do I remember Sinbad playing in Shazam, but I remember, as do so many, when the Shaq movie came out, how much of a ripoff it seemed because they just had a genie movie with Sinbad. Like, we wouldn't have that if this was just misremembering. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have that.
and
You
that
can't
it
you
makes
can't
sense.
tell me
There's always B-roll movie because there was another Sinbad movie that came out that year, if I or around that time period. And when there's a AAA movie followed, or usually they release it right beforehand, there's like a little B grade movie, and I think
Yeah.
that was the B grade or the AAA movie. Well, it one or the other, and I don't know. It made the most sense. I know we watched it, and yeah,
I never saw it, but I remember when it came out, and I remember when the Shaq movie came out like 2 years later. And no, I'm not mixing up Sinbad and Shaq.
no, the Shaq one sucked. I wish that was the one that disappeared. The Sinbad one was way better. It was good, and me and
And
my
the Ed McMahon one's out of control, and Publishers Clearinghouse just made another video the other day to come at the Mandela effect again. You go on that channel. That channel is all these different sweepstakes winners, and then they have two videos that just don't fit in at all. And it's them trying to debunk the Mandela effect and that Ed McMahon never worked there. It's very strange behavior from a sweepstakes company. And they actually started commenting on our videos.
I told my mom that that the publisher sweepstake never happened. And she looked at me like, "The hell are you talking about?" Like, I remember we played it all the time, all this stuff and everything. And then one of her friends actually supposedly won. I was too young, but she claims that she had a friend back in the '90s that actually won it. But and my mom was always a sports player like that when it comes to like, not she was not a gambler, but she liked signing up for if you can get free money just by signing up for something or going somewhere, putting your hand on a car, she was down for it. And anyway, recently told her about it, like, yeah, that never happened. And she looks at me like I'm insane. Like she's not even gonna look into it. Like that happened. She don't care what the whole world has to say about it. She know what happened, and she's not nothing to do with Mandela. She don't know she knows who Nelson Mandela is, but outside that, she don't know nothing about this. She just knows that y'all crazy if you don't think that what she
Yeah,
knows.
but the thing is, it's like I tell your mom, like we all agree with her. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
it's the media and the people that are trying to get you to ignore your
Well,
experiences that are
that's the thing. She watches. She's a news watcher. She unfortunately took the jabs, and she more or less will do whatever any doctor tells her to if she thinks it'll benefit her health. But so she's not on board with anything of this. But the fact that she's just like, yeah, I know that this happened, and I'm not going to even discuss it. she gets
My
aggravated.
mom sees it. My mom sees it now, and Karen's mom sees it too. Every time she's here, I think she's coming again soon. We talk about it all the time. So
Yeah. Hey man, that's part of the reality here. For me, my life has been a Mandela effect. Through my own personal journey, I can look back and I can see things have changed. Maybe we won't title this type of growth or change Mandela effect, but when you really break down each other's journeys from the outside looking in, everybody's always being affected by their own choices, their memory, their beliefs, and I bet even the slowest, most low vibrational soul over a course of so many years changes themselves, some more than others. But
yeah.
in this, I think also is entangled the quantum theory, simulation, super consciousness, that all this
How
is
can
just.
people not want to talk about this stuff? It's so fascinating.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. This realm needs to be discussed. It needs to be observed, and this is us taking a fine-tooth comb and a microscope, trying to really iron out the details as much as we can online, anyway. And then when we are all not online, we should all be doing daily efforts and works, or at least mental exercises, so that way we could prepare our mind and our soul for any potential new information coming down the line, that if you don't do the work now, when it comes, you might miss it. It might go right over your head. And that could have been the clue that you needed to get that next aha moment. This is what I need to do. This is what I need to share.
So there's a lot of people that would be like, and people that have come pretty far in their journey that will be like, "Oh, this is stupid. What can I do about it?" Well, I don't know. I mean, I with all my investigation into 9/11 and NASA, I don't think I got anybody lost their job over, my revelations. So, it's not about what's going to change in the world because you talk about this truth. It's about being honest with yourself and being curious about what this place is and standing in truth. If you see that this is happening and you don't think that it's fascinating, you will. You will, because it'll stop to if and this happens to a lot of people, including myself. It took me several months, maybe even longer for it to really hit me. Like somebody gave you a super chat, by the way, about the Berenstein Bears being their big
Oh,
one.
oh,
I'll
thank
read
you
it
so
out to
much.
you. I'll read it
Handsome.
out.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it.
Stego Bro says for 4.99, big Mandela effect for me is Berenstein Bears. I remember them, the Berenstein Bears, when I was a kid. Awesome stream, you guys. Yeah. So the Berenstein Bears is my first recognized Mandela effect. Now going back 20 years, a famous wrestler that's Mandela affected his name actually changed, but I didn't realize what it was. Realizing a Mandela effect as presented as a Mandela effect, late 2014, very early 2015, Berenstein was the one for me. And I realized the concept quickly because I had a smart friend that told me what was being said. And I'm like, no, I mean, I knew I had these books when I was little. And again, I don't have that self doubt. Here's the thing, get rid of the self doubt. Trust yourself. Don't come in with this preconceived notion of reality that this stuff can't happen and then you dismiss your experiences. That's like the big message here. Like, don't dismiss all of this. I don't care if you disagree with half of my short list with over 100 videos. You might think 50 of them are shit, but guess what? The other 50 of them are really going to be like, whoa, I know that it was this way. I know that it was that way. So if we're trying to, like, you have the title of your channel is True Earth Entertainment. Well, if we're trying to truly figure out what the earth is, how can we ignore the shifts in reality, people rising from the dead, the land masses moving, the scriptures being supernaturally rewritten, buildings all over and businesses all changing, logos and brands changing, and then messages, guided messages, particularly through music and songs of a spiritual nature. Like instead of I get down on my knees and I began to pray with the Mamas and Papas California Dreaming, now it's I get down on my knees and I pretend to pray. And there's so much of that stuff going on, that type of messaging, like the wolf lying with the lamb instead of the lion. I mean, how much is it going to take to pay attention and see that there's something profound happening here?
Yeah, the whole wolf thing's weird. That wolf. That didn't even sound right, but yeah, I don't know. Now there's gonna a whole new generation of souls this is going to be their reality now.
Well, you see, it will. So they're going to grow up with wolf. But on top of that, though, the Bible's still changing. So they're going to get affected. They're going to get affected by a slough that they grew up with.
Ooh, I hope it turns into an octopus. That would be weird. I want it to go somewhere
Well,
strange.
I'm glad you said that, because if people are just misremembering and, they're all just saying wolf, a lion, and it was always wolf. Where is the octopus and the lamb? Where's the giraffe and the lamb? Where's where's the mixture of different animals that are the wrong answer? There's plenty of animals in the Bible. There weren't just 3 animals, right? If you're going to get it wrong, there's plenty of other opportunity and animals to put in there. I walk up to people that you would call subject matter experts. I walk up to people that are standing on the street trying to teach Bible courses. I record them and I quiz them on this stuff. And I'm like 100%. And I do it here. I do it in California. I do it everywhere. Do it to my Uber drivers, my Lyft drivers. This is fascinating. Don't brush it off. It's important. Okay. You asked earlier the biggest Mandela effect. We should talk about that.
Yeah.
My biggest one is the first major attack on U.S. soil from a foreign entity, 20th century. I was always
Black Rob, Black Sam,
Black Rob. Whoa, no, it's Black Tom.
Yeah, that's the guy. That's
So yeah, everybody I ask, they'll tell you they don't know, or they'll tell you Pearl Harbor. First one before 9/11. And that's what I was always taught. That's also what I always heard in my 9/11 journey and through the media during that time and leading up to the time I started my awakening journey, and I was getting the mainstream 9/11 stuff, Pearl Harbor, 9/11. There was no Black Tom. Now in this reality, there's this whole German thing with this Mandela effect too that we should talk about, but we'll start with this one. Now in this reality, there's an attack in New York where 2 German spies snuck in through New Jersey, blew off 1 million pounds of TNT. Killed 5, injured 120, and damaged the Statue of Liberty so bad that nobody's been.
Where'd you say that happened at? Say it again.
Right in the harbor, New York, New Jersey harbor. There's an island. You can look on a map. There's an island called Black Tom that had a munitions depot on it. They didn't smuggle in the explosives. They snuck in, blew up this whole depot, and blew out all the windows and all this crazy stuff. Blew out all the windows in Lower Manhattan, and then on top of it, besides how absurd it is to people to say that, they just swept it under the rug. You can't just sweep 1 million pounds of TNT in the largest non-nuclear man-made explosion in the history of the world. You can't just sweep that under the rug. But on top of that, the fact that nobody's been to the Statue of Liberty in this reality doesn't sit right, because I've spoken to people that have been to the torch.
That's why I put in Yandex Black Tom Harbor. Yandex is pretty good. I've been using it a lot lately.
Yeah, I don't know exactly which one by looking at it, but it was an island in the New York harbor. Maybe it even got obliterated, the whole island itself, and it's not there now. But it was an island in New York harbor that had a munitions depot on it.
Just pull it up because it, man.
Is this Governor's Island, Ellis Island, Liberty Island now, and there's Black Tom Island.
Oops.
I've spoken to people that have been to the torch. Jen, the Truth Seeker 69, her mom's been to the torch. She's come on the show and talked about it. Okay. But now that's not possible in this reality because that explosion damaged the torch. Not since 1916. Over 100 years ago. Over 100 years.
Yeah, that don't sound right. I want to say, because my mom's side of the family from Brooklyn, and I want to say she has a picture when maybe she was in the Crown. I don't remember. I thought
so. Here's another one you never heard about that a lot of people listening might not even know about, this Mandela effect. And I haven't done a short video on it yet, but I did bring it up on a show several months back. So there's all these German things, these other German attacks we're going to talk about, German Mandela effects, German name changes like Haas, like FAO Schwartz, which no longer exists. Charles M. Schultz no longer exists. Okay. A lot of German stuff going on. But now there's this other one where, so you remember, and we'll be careful here because I know how YouTube is, but you remember 3 years ago when all that stuff went down at the Capitol?
With the crazy people and the makeup and the horns?
Yeah. The whole thing. Yeah, the Viking guy with the fucking Mandela affected flag on his face. All right. So all of that, just like with 9/11 though, right? So that was this big thing. No matter what went on, it was this huge thing, right? So just like with 9/11 and them never mentioning Black Tom, why didn't they mention when the Germans bombed the Capitol building during all of that? Because now the Germans, okay, bombed the cap. Listen to this. The Germans now, like 100 years ago, around this time, I forget the year. I didn't know I was going to bring it up, but I'll address it in my next live stream, probably shortly after Black Tom. Now they also snuck in. They snuck in and they blew up the Capitol building, right? All this damage, right? And then after the guy that blew up the Capitol building, he then went to J.P. Morgan's house, knocked on the door. J.P. Morgan answered the door, and this guy tried to assassinate him and shot him twice in the chest. Never heard of the J.P. Morgan assassination, ever, nor the German bomb in the Capitol building. And it's all linked together now. Now, I will admit that it's much different covering these types of Mandela effects, and I do know that there's tons of stuff about alleged history that I don't know, and there could be things I don't know. But this whole German thing, the Black Tom never happened in my reality. And I know from enough investigation that is absolutely ridiculous and a huge Mandela effect. We see all these other German connections. Germans bombing the Capitol building. You know why it was never mentioned when the Capitol thing went down? Because nobody had ever heard about it. And it just came into our timeline reality within the last year. Okay. It's not even that old, but it is old. Not even that old, but it is old. Now, so in my reality, the Germans never attacked on the coast of the United States. There's also a German torpedo that sits in the beach outside the backyard of my mother's house now in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. That was never a thing. And that's kind of where I stop with the war stuff, because I don't know a lot of war history. But this is espionage that was well known after the fact. This isn't battles and war and stuff like that. This is before, like the Black Tom thing is just before the U.S. entered the war. This J.P. Morgan thing. I mean, how many times have truthers brought up J.P. Morgan and all this? No, have you ever heard anybody talk about when the Germans tried to assassinate him at his house?
No, no, never. Not me. It's brand new information to me as well. I wonder if all this is connected with them keep scraping against the Sky Dome, sending all those different rockets with different type of God knows what type of payloads that is shifting the cosmos themselves that feed us our energy from the stars, Polaris, the sun and moon. Every time they set something up, we all assume that it's out to get us. They're doing something to block the sky and the stars, and that could be a certain degree of truth to it, if not 100%. But by itself, no. If I was spending millions of dollars in continuous trips up there as a scientist or some type of evildoer who wants to break through the dome, I'm not going to be doing things for only one reason. There's going to be multiple reasons, so that way I can hit multiple birds with the same stone. So what if this has to do with all these different energetic frequencies that they're messing with, that's messing with the stars? I've heard rumors that that they're actually been trying to replicate suns and moons in China and around the plane. So them putting up these other energetic orbs into the air, could that be messing with our very sensitive celestial system, therefore making this ripple effect, a Mandela effect, where timelines shatter?
Yeah, I mean, that could be a possibility. Also, other celestial events that could be quote unquote natural. I mean, maybe they're not natural at all, but like an eclipse, a solar eclipse, and things like this. A lot of people started to see things after certain solar eclipses, kind of like after their near-death experience type of ideas. Now, I got something real interesting now that you mentioned in the stars and Mandela effect, and I want to bring NASA into this a bit. So now this is something. And again, I just got to be honest. Like, if something doesn't resonate with me either way, because I didn't have the knowledge, I have to just say that. So if that ticks the Mandela effect community off, that I don't come out and call something a Mandela effect that they're calling a Mandela effect, I just can't do that. That's just not what I'm going to do. But one that is huge for many people, but I don't know any way. I don't know either way, is this idea that the Earth itself, was located in the Sagittarius arm of the galaxy. Now, whether you believe the Earth is actually there or not, that was, that is what many people remember the information to be, whether the information is true or not, right? That's what many people remember the information to be. We're in the Sagittarius arm of the galaxy. Now we're in the Orion Spur. Okay. Now, the interesting thing when looking into this, that we're in the Orion Spur of the galaxy, which puts us in a different spot when they show you on the little diagram, UI here and all this, completely different spot.
Now you're this dot. Now you're this dot over here.
Exactly. That's exactly what it's like. Now, on top of that, what's interesting when you look into it, you find these high priests of science seem to be affected by this or in some way. So Neil deGrasse Tyson, I shown a video where he started trying to sound like he was smart, and he said something about, like, I think he said like a city and then a state and then Earth and then Milky Way, and then he said Sagittarius and then he got corrected. No, Orion right? Because that's what it is now. Now, there's a clip of Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan showing you where you are in the galaxy on this TV screen. He points to Sagittarius which is not where the Earth allegedly is, right? Very interesting. Then, now I can't take credit because I didn't find it. Somebody on Facebook posted it. I don't remember the guy's name. You know what the Wayback Machine is, right?
I know it rings a bell. Can you please
So the Wayback Machine is a site called archive.org, and you can put in like search filters and go back and look at old websites at different fragments of time.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Thank you.
So what this guy did is he went back and he looked at a NASA website, and I forget what they were talking about in the article. It actually doesn't matter at all. But in the article, and this was in 2018, I believe, NASA was describing something, and then they talked about the Earth being in the Sagittarius arm of the galaxy, which is exactly what these people have been saying. It's what Neil deGrasse was remembering but corrected on. It's what Carl Sagan was showing. But then if you take that same webpage and you would have changed the date, and I did a video showing this, and you change the date to like a year after that, right? Like 2019, right? That same exact article is there, but one word is swapped out. Sagittarius now says Orion in that NASA documentation. They changed it at some point between 2018 or 2019. Now, what do I think's going on here? Well, again, I don't resonate with this either way, so I don't want to die on the hill of it. But what it appears to be, do I think the Mandela effect changed the alleged, I keep saying alleged location of the Earth and all the information and NASA's information? Or do I think NASA caught wind of all of this somehow and changed the information themselves to try and cover it up? I say it's the latter. I say that certainly NASA is completely aware of the Mandela effect. And I say, in that case, there's certainly something suspicious going on their website where nothing's changed in that article, but except the Earth's location. And it matches everything we just discussed. So I thought, and so I did a video showing that. I thought that would fascinate people. Fell on deaf ears. I did a video showing planets in the Bible after we saw the most well-versed people in the community, like Rob Skiba, come out and repeatedly not only tell you that planets is nowhere in Scripture, do whole biblical cosmology presentations on it, and on the screen behind them tell you that planets is nowhere in Scripture. Meanwhile, I know it's in the KJV now because it's a Mandela effect. I know it wasn't there in 2015. This is what I'm saying. And I'm not trying to, pick on somebody who's not with us anymore. I'm just saying, like, I show the people that would have the most knowledge about this stuff and show you that they're affected as well. Come on, man. Anybody that's old school flat earth knows planets wasn't in the Bible, man. It was not there, dude. It's there now. That's not a big deal.
So we're probably thinking that NASA is always playing catch up to the Mandela effect in their own way. They're probably not getting away scathed if they're having to adjust things accordingly when they look up or they see that their data is off all of a sudden. Maybe, I could see that. Got up covering tracks or just trying to adjust their.
Well, we know. So look, here's a theory. And again, this is just theory, but let's have an open conversation, right? So we talk about is time speeding up, right? We talk about landmass changes, right? We didn't get too much into it tonight, but we can talk about a few of them. But then some of the landmass changes seem like the landmass is coming together like a puzzle piece, almost like a Pangea type scenario, if you will, right? Like many people in the Mandela effect community, and I've experienced this myself, have talked about flight times being extremely shorter than they were supposed to be between two distances, right? So all of this has gone on. Also, myself and others for many years now have talked about how some of the observations in the sky, things seem to be lower. Clouds, stars, the color on the stars seems to have more clarity because they seem closer than they were like 5 years ago. So do the clouds. So, what if the realm itself was shrinking a bit? Now, if it was shrinking a bit, right? I'm not saying shrinking and it's going to crush us or anything, but if it was shrinking a bit, right? Wouldn't and so the sky would come down, the firmament would come down, stars would get lower. Now, if the realm was shrinking a bit and the sun was getting lower, and what we make of days is the sun, well, going above us like this, right? Wouldn't that essentially speed up time if that was what was happening?
Sure, I could see that. How it could.
Yeah. It's just an idea, and
Yeah, we gauge it off the sun's path, so technically, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's still a concept of the mind, but still, that's why we make
Yeah.
it one, is off the speed of the celestial clock above our head. So, yeah, I could see that. Definitely. Very fluid reality. Great discussions all around. We're coming up close to the second hour. Getting a little hungry. And I know you have a show you have to do later. You want to go ahead and plug your show for everything and what you got planned on for the rest of the week?
Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do a show because Karen has her show at 10. So I'm not
Oh,
gonna
that's
not
right.
gonna stream.
Duh.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stream tonight. I was gonna do a show, but now that we've done this, I don't have anything particularly planned this week. I'll probably do a show maybe Thursday, if not definitely Saturday night. Most people here know where to find me, but if you don't, Brian S. Staveley, basically on every platform. I am always on backup YouTube channels. I'm on a few of them now, so the easiest way to find all my links is go to Dose of Reality Show, just like you see here, but show, doseofrealityshow.com. It's my website. There's not much new stuff there, but all my links are there. So if you go to doseofrealityshow.com and click my links, all my channels, emails, social media, it's all there. But if you search my name anyway, you should be able to find me. I'll type Brian Staveley, Dose of Reality.
Right inside Google. Yeah, you pull right up. Do it all the time.
So there's an author with my same name as mine. So some people suspect he's
Oh,
just
crap.
like AI and doesn't even exist
Oh,
because he
shit.
plugs up there. That's why I use my middle initial, because that guy got the same name as me. So I use my middle initial a lot.
Smart. You gotta brand yourself correctly so people can find the right Brian Staveley. You can be multiplying out here with.
Yeah, buddy.
But it's been a great, deep, thoughtful conversation. Exactly what I knew and expected to have. We both are aligned with a lot of our ideas of this realm being fluid and being very interactive. And you only catch what your awareness is ready to catch. And that especially has to do with the changes, these physical changes that are happening around us probably every day. But we're so busy and we're so focused on the things we can catch, we might be missing even more things. But thanks to people like you and other truthers out there in the trutherverse, our mysteryverse, whatever you want to title us, are looking for the next clues to whatever this realm is and how we interact with it. For me, it's all mental, and you get exactly what you put into it and what you expect to get out of it, which is that way for me. Everybody gets what they want, the good and the bad and the ugly and everything in between. So with that being said, I'm also going to be at Strange World later today. My homegirl Karen and Mark love that show. Keep me updated. I don't watch the news. I let them give me
So
the news.
just remember that there's definitely bad Mandela effects, but there's also bad quote unquote flat Earth proofs. There's bad 9/11 evidence. There's
Correct.
bad and everything, but it doesn't make those things not true because there's so much compiled up that shows you that is the case. So 9/11's a lie. The Earth's not a globe. Reality is fluid.
Agreed.
That's
All
it.
of that above times 1,000. And it's an honor, Mr. Brian. Thanks for coming and hang out with me again, my friend. We have to do this again in the future. We just literally scraped the surface of all this stuff. Each thing we were talking about could literally spend an hour and a half on to 2 hours just on each effect. Because I know there's many that I grew up with that I definitely concrete remembering happening in certain ways. And it's going to be hard to get me off of convince me that I'm the wrong one and everybody else, the fluoride drinkers of the world, are the correct ones. The ones who don't pay attention, they know what they're talking about. Reality doesn't change, but yet we know reality changes all the time. It just might be changing on such a scale that it's hard to currently comprehend, at least until we get further data and information. But keep your mind open, and that third eye will probably never lead you wrong. Trust your intuition, because without that, we're no better than the animals, or maybe we're just as good as the animals. I don't know how you want to perceive it, I guess. But have a great rest of your day. It was 4th of July. Enjoy some fireworks tonight and try not to blow your hands up or, get anything in your eye. Don't want to end your week on that. I put together a little membership exit, like I said I would. It's just something just to show my appreciation. I'm gonna do way better. I probably missed some names because it was over 50 already members, and I really appreciate all of y'all. So I can't. Let me see if I can get to my streaming here so I can tell everybody goodbye. So yeah, going up the list that I can get through my phone. Special K, sister, good to see you. Sue Finelli, Trisha, Stephanie, DJ, National Memorial Gardens. Hey, good to see you. Welcome. Never seen you before. Yove's Conspiracy. Excuse my lingo. Pamela. Who else? Melodome. I saw you in here early. Ganaball, Wes Fe, Marshall, Stupid. Hey, don't call yourself that. You're very intelligent. Just kidding. Four Jacks. Marshall Lee. Yeah, wow. That's awesome people. It's a great turnout. Y'all have a fantastic week, and hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow. Keep this momentum going. Keep the knowledge flowing, and try to keep the positivity out there because shit happens. I know sometimes we get off and we go back to our regular lives and we start stressing out. Don't do that. You're worthy of love, and you're stronger than you know. Just keep reminding yourself of that. And FMX got your back. So does my boy Brian. Dose of reality. So go ahead, get yourself a dose of reality. All right, B. I'll talk to you later. Y'all have a fantastic evening, and that's all she wrote, baby. Talk to y'all later. Peace.
Yet in holding scientific research and discovery in respect, as we should, we must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite.
We choose to go to the moon. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House. Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor and privilege for us to be here.
First question I was wondering, when are we going back to the moon?
It's taken us many years to open this door to useful cooperation in space between our two countries. And may I say, in signing off, here's to a soft landing.
All of them spin-offs of space technology. That's why Jimmy Carter from Georgia
and Gerald Ford from California agree.
Space technology has down-to-earth benefits for everyone.
America is going to space again, and we're going there to stay.
And next, for the new century, back to the moon, back to the future, and this time, back to stay.
That's a great dream. But that and our other dreams are clearly the natural extensions of the space program which began a generation ago.
Is to return to the moon by 2020 as the launching point for missions beyond. Beginning no later than 2008, using the Crew Exploration Vehicle, we will undertake extended human missions to the moon as early as 2015.
By the mid-2030s, I believe we can send humans to orbit Mars and return them safely to Earth. And a landing on Mars will follow. And I expect to be around to see it.
I'm Christopher Crumb, and you're listening to FMX Radio.